In the Northeast, the geographical boundaries, there are always issues which come up between when it comes to borders, geographical borders. Explain to me, where is Mukro, in which part, and why is this a bone of contention between your state and Assam?
So what happened was way back in the 70s, early 70s, 70, 71, 72, when this entire process of the statehood was happening, clear, defined kind of geographical lines or boundaries in some areas were not marked. And that led to a lot of kind of confusion and left too many things, open. And not to blame anybody, but I can understand that during that moment, the need for getting the state and fulfilling the people's desire. So micro detailing and micromanagement and getting all the details worked out could have been missed out. So it's not that we're blaming anybody, but it happened. Okay. Those are the facts. Now, in that situation, there were a lot of areas where there were conflicts and differences that arose between the two states and the people. So way back in 2011, 2012, the then government then put up a study and they drafted a report which showed 12 areas of differences. Now, whether right or wrong, whether they left out some areas or whether they took certain areas which were not meant to be in the areas of differences, whatever the case may be, 2012 report by the then government was made and which was officially of approved in one way by both the state governments at that time. So we have to work with those documents and those areas of differences. Now, within those areas of differences, Mukro is one village that falls at the border of one of these areas of differences. And that's where this particular incident about 2 years back had taken place, where there was a firing from the other side, and and few people lost their lives. So that is what happened in Mukro. The problem actually is that there is a kind of a gray area where certain development work or certain activities which Meghalaya citizens feel that why should they be stopped? But they are stopped by whether the Karbi Anglong Autonomous District Council officials or the Assam officials. And sometimes from Assam side also, when people are trying to do some activities on this side of the concerned area of differences, then Meghalaya people also react, Meghalaya government also reacts. So basically it's just the tension and the non-clarity of the lines and the different activities that take place, and everybody feels nahi to mera hai, nahi mera hai.
So what is the solution to this?
So in these 12 areas, what we did was we realized that every area is not as complicated as the other ones, and hence what we have done is that now with the Assam government and the now Assam Chief Minister, we are working closely. We talk to each other in a very, very formal as well as an informal setup. And we try to see how we can come to a conclusion. And 6 areas we have been able to come to a sort of a conclusion. And now these surveys are taking place to earmark and to mark the border areas which we're defining. So Geological Survey of India is working in that line. But 6 areas we have more or less kind of come to some conclusion as to what would be the way forward. The rest of the 6 locations are the slightly more complicated ones. And so we are still in the phase of discussing on how to move forward. But I think what is important to note is that, this cannot go on forever. You see, the Mukro incident, if we had drawn the lines long time back, these incidents would
wouldn't
not
flare
have,
up. Yes.
So we need to find this because the tension will continue.
Yeah.
And unless we're able to solve it, whether right or wrong, somewhere we have to come to an agreement. Okay. And this cannot be, so in the past, just to share with you, there were 26 meetings of the chief ministers for the last maybe 20, 25, 30 years, of the chief ministers and the chief secretaries, 26 times, more than 26 times, I can't remember the exact amount. And in each and every meeting, the decision was to maintain status quo. So it was for the first time that when we took over, that we said that no, whether possible or not, this thing requires more than just status quo. We cannot stick to status quo anymore.
That's an easy way out, right?
That's a easy way out,
for
and
the people on the ground, it's not the easy way
exactly.
out.
So politically, it's very tough for us to take this issue up because a lot of blame will come to me. So even if I do the something that is on the right side, then somebody will say nahi aise kyun nahi kiya. If I do this, then people will say aise kyun nahi kiya. But we as leaders obviously realize that somebody has to take the bull by the horn and say, like, look, let's find a solution to this because this can't continue. People are losing their lives, and Mukro was one example of that. Thankfully, now we have a decent understanding at the
Is Himanta on the same page as you?
Yes, he is, absolutely. Okay. And Government of India also is on the same page. So that's the good part. When political will, I can say, is there, complications are there, but there's a political will. So we are seeing that maybe this could be the best time actually to resolve this issue. And the ones we cannot, then we should again come to decision, look, this cannot be, so this is the working system in these areas.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that we can resolve all because it is truly complicated. And if I go into details, it'll be too long. But there are some areas which are very, very complicated.
Click here to watch the full episode.